The Morava River spans the entire length of Moravia, creating a living connection between the northern headwaters and the southern confluence of the river Danube. At many places along the Morava, human development has tamed the riverbanks and removed many of its natural beauties. But between the towns of Olomouc and Moholnica, the Morava River is still a beautiful natural river which flows through picturesque countryside. Evaluating the need for protecting this scenic and ecologically valuable landscape took a long time. In 1990, recognition of the special status of the Morava wetlands was finally realized by declaration of the Litovelske Pomoravi Protected Landscape Area in accordance with the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands Protection. Litovelske Pomoravi Protected Landscape Area is composed of the Morava River Basin and the Basin Floodplain Forest. A large number of natural lateral arms and tributaries of the Morava are included as well. The protected landscape area contains natural features which now can be found only in a few places in the whole of Europe. This is why land use in the protected area must be guided by ecological principles which will ensure the integrity of this uniquely natural environment.
této oblasti by se mělo dít na ekologických principech, na ekologických základech, tak aby nedošlo k porušení tohoto jedinečného přírodního objektu.
Let's have a look back into the past to understand the creation of an ancient inland river delta which crafted the typical landscape of Litovelske Pomoravi. The entire area is actually the bottom of a former lake which was here approximately 15 million years ago. Large gravelland sediments formed mainly in the mouths of tributaries flowing into the lake also date from that time. The Morava River is now flowing over these ancient sediments, changing its watercourse and replacing sediments on its own bottom. One can watch various features of the river's activity, such as the sedimentation of gravel banks and the creation of meanders and lateral branches in the most beautiful sections between Litovel and Horka. This part of the river receives special protection as the National Natural Reservation of the branches of the Morava River. Like other floodplains, early on Litovelske Pomoravi attracted human settlements to the area, some 20 to 30,000 years ago. The oldest records of human habitation comes from the area of the Mladec Caves, an important paleontological site known for early traces of Cro-Magnon human. Very soon more people arrived to establish themselves in the rich landscape, and the area became an early agricultural center. Fortunately, the human impact did not reach the vicinity adjacent to the river, remaining further on the edge of fields. This was very wise of our ancestors, for it left a bigger catchment area for floods and allowed the floodplain forest to flourish. The forest depends deeply on annual spring floods, which inject vital nutrients into the soil. The frequency and the power of the floods have decreased in the last couple of years, raising fears of the desertification of the entire landscape. After the water level begins to fall, the floodplain forest blooms. In the natural reservation Chargon, a white cover is created by Levtsoium vernum. Some of the other reservations known for their wide variety of beautiful spring flowers are Vrapach, Panensky Les, and Dolny Les. Springtime is characteristically the period when most of bulbous and rhizomes plants rapidly grow and flower in the full light before the foliation of trees is complete. The floodplain forest is not only rich for colored flowers, but also hides a secret treasure trove of small animals living in seasonal pools. Most people think of these pools as only breeding grounds for thousands of pesky mosquitoes, but for specialists, seasonal pools are the most valuable habitat within the area. This may appear to you to be a common forest pool, but in the spring it awakens with an abundance of life. The rare crustaceans, Anostraca and Lepidurus apis, are living here. They are endangered mainly by the drying up of the landscape caused by stream regulations and drainage. Small crustaceans are closely linked to the rhythm of seasonal pools, spring flooding, and the slow decline of the water level preceding the drying up of the pools. Crustaceans survive the dry period in the form of eggs, which require a dry spell for their development. After the flowering of snowdrops, one can see a white cover once more in the floodplain forest during early May. It is time for bear's garlic. Then, in green shadow, there are excellent conditions, especially for nettles and also neophyte Impatiens glandulifera. The large forested area in the northwest part of Litovelske Pomoravi presents a completely different terrain. Its name is Dobrava, after the name of the species of oak, which is a main component of forest, along with basswood and hornbeam. You can catch a glimpse of some interesting places in this quarter en route from Olomouc to Prague on the main railroad line. Beach stands appear on the highest hills within Litovelske Pomoravi, especially on Bradlets, which rises 342 meters above sea level. The area of Česin Hill is one of the most interesting places in Litovelske Pomoravi. The Morava River flows here in a narrow valley between Česin Hill and the hills of Dobrava. Unfortunately, the natural beauty and scientific value of the place was heavily disturbed by the construction of a motorway. The motorway disturbed the unique connection of the limestone formations in the protected area and river basin. Česin is formed by limestone with plenty of karst features. The attractiveness of Česin is heightened by romantic structures dating from the past century, for example, the man-made Devil's Bridge and Podkova Cave. Natural caves like Mladec Cave may be viewed as well. Meadows, originally created by small-scale human activity, are now very much a part of the natural environment. It is nearly impossible to imagine a harmonically balanced landscape without them. If they're not used intensively, they provide a good habitat for many plants and animals. Alluvial wet meadows are a typical feature of Litovelske Pomoravi. The entire watercourse of the Morava River was once braced by meadows, converted into arable and drainaged fields. Today it is not easy to find valuable wet meadow. In Litovelske Pomoravi there are fine protected grasslands with many pools in the natural reservation Plane Lochki. Close to the railroad line, one can find the fascinating and important wetland natural reservation, Kacheni Loka. It is a wet depression with a rich occurrence of many rare plants and animals. Three large lakes were created in Litovelske Pomoravi area by the extraction of gravel and sand. Komotov Lake was used for a long time as the reservoir for drinking water, so there was no disturbance of its surrounding environment by human activities. The lake became an important habitat of waterfowl and has now been declared a natural reservation. It provides nesting ground for rarely seen little bitterns. On Moholnitsa Lake, the extraction of gravel continues today. Interesting plant communities with many rare species of plants are developing on sediments created by washing of gravel. Only here is it possible to find endangered species of the horsetail family Hippochaetia variegata. The third lake, named Podjabradi, is located close to Olomouc and used for recreational purposes. Bathing is by far the most common recreational activity in Litovelske Pomoravi. There is hope that with time, more active forms of recreation will prevail, and the inhabitants of the city of Olomouc will begin to use alternative opportunities for recreation in the protected area. Have you ever visited Litovelske Pomoravi area? No, I have not. And do you know anything about it? I only know there are some floodplain forests around Litovel, but I haven't been there. Yes, I used to hike there. Have you ever visited Litovelske Pomoravi area? No. Do you know that it exists or what is interesting there? No, I have not dealt with that question, no. The nature within Litovelske Pomoravi forms ideal conditions for various recreational activities, such as jogging, canoeing, hiking, horse riding, and biking. These activities must respect ecological principles, mainly by differentiating strictly protected areas, which are without recreational use, from the rest of the area, which is open and appropriate for recreation.
Části oblasti jsou například vyloučeny z těch rekreačních aktivit. Převážná část ovšem oblasti je přístupná rekreačním aktivitám.
Yes, I love the Morava River, but now it is a treacherous river. I canoed this river once and thought it was a quiet river, but today its torrent is nearly as strong as a mountain river. Well, I enjoy the river very much. It is nice and has a strong torrent. The surroundings are also beautiful. If I compare it with regulated rivers, this is really great. Canoeing on the Morava River richly rewards the enthusiast with unrepeatable impressions. The price for that unique experience must be paid by the respect canoers give to the river and to the entire life of the surrounding countryside. This part of the river is very attractive for canoeing. Many rare birds nest here, and their nests, with eggs or chicks, are easily overlooked on the sandbars. It mainly attracts plover. Even I, as a canoeist, do not like to enter on the sandbars, and I don't go where I hear adult birds calling. Well, you know, I do not like to go to sand pits to fish because there are many anglers and it is not quiet. Here is the beauty of nature and many fishes, carp, pike. I feel much better here. I have come here since my childhood.
Já sem chodím od malička, od svých dětských let.
But even that idyllic-looking landscape is full of problems connected with human activities. The seriousness of these problems for Litovelske Pomoravi varies, but it is necessary to be concerned with all of them. The native floodplain forests remain in many places within Litovelske Pomoravi, such as here near the village Szczeń. They are very valuable and have the typical composition of natural tree species, oaks, ashes, basewoods, which are of different ages. Unfortunately, in the last few years, the floodplain forest has been heavily disturbed by many factors, but mainly by the development of pheasantry and the changes connected with it. The floodplain forest is in many places replaced by non-native spruce stands, and for pheasants, foresters have created large fields which negatively influence the microclimate of the adjacent area.
Rozhoráváním luk nebo likvidací lužního lesa.
I am walking on the boundary of one problem found in Litovelske Pomoravi. On the right side there is a beautiful wet meadow full of rare plant species. On the other side there is a field of wheat created by plowing up part of the meadow. So here is a strange situation where the Siberian iris grows on the edge of the field. The effort of the Protected Landscape Area Administration will be to return the whole patch back to meadow. The river Morava has a good purifying ability, but sometimes this is overestimated. Low amounts of water during sugar refinery production sometimes causes serious pollution. One potential threat for Litovelske Pomoravi is the exploitation of limestone in the vicinity of Chesine Hill. Explosions in Kars area can affect complicated systems of cavities, change directions of groundwater streams, and threaten the large reservoir of drinking water. I'm standing on the Przemysl Otakar II square in Litovel. Litovel is the biggest town within Litovelske Pomoravi. It has a rich cultural and historic tradition and was formerly a royal town. It is located on 5 branches of the Morava River with many interesting historic buildings. In the past, many mistakes were made by the reconstruction of buildings. Even some historical buildings were pulled down and replaced by new ones. I would like to document that with this photo of where once stood 3 nice Renaissance houses with rich vaults and sculptures. Instead of them now stands this horrible thing behind me, constructed in the 50s. That is why reconstructions of historical centers of towns, as well as reconstructions of villages, are being prepared. Many tasks are being undertook in cooperation with other organizations and institutions. Research in the area is carried out mostly by scientists working at the University of Palatsky in Olomouc. The general public is well informed about the beaver project. Litovelske Pomoravi is the first site in the Czech Republic where beavers were reintroduced into the natural environment.
Takže vysazujeme je do předem připravených takových zimovišť.
So, we are releasing beavers into prepared boxes which are 1.5 times 1 meter wide and long and 1 meter high. All are fastened by wood about that diameter, which is also food for the beavers. They are put there to calm down as a protective measure from stress before their release. And here is a channel to the water with a grazing place. This plays a very important part, acting as the barrier against quick escape from the hollow.
Nechce si fotku?
Ano.
The goal of the project is to re-establish the population of the European beaver in Moravia. The animals came from northeastern Poland, and 20 beavers were released during 2 terms. By far, they survive quite well here, which is easy to see. The vicinity of rivers was the cradle of human culture in each region of the world. The same situation existed in Moravia. For many centuries now, humans have been altering their surroundings and slowly losing the special relationship to rivers, which was once so much a part of towns and villages. We are polluting the rivers and channelizing streams without thinking of the consequences for nature, communities, and human life. So now there exists a strange situation. Many people admire and seek to protect mountain areas, yet few understand the need to protect lowland areas, even when their scientific and aesthetic value is considerable. Fortunately, more people, not only biologists, but also city dwellers, teachers, farmers, and tourists, are beginning to recognize the value of wetlands. It will take a long time before a thorough evaluation of wetlands and full public understanding of their value is reached.